Mhm. Okay, here we are. Yep, good. Let's jump right into it. I forgot where we left off. I'm sure it's gonna come back to me. Okay, and I have to hide myself right off the bat. There was a beautiful feeling in the air, like a revolution was about to begin. Hey Bear, hey hey. The devil Mephistopheles was sitting at a bar in a secluded alley along Central Boulevard, waiting for Maou to call. The clock's hands pointed to 8 exactly. Mephistopheles put the battery into the cell phone. That's such a long name. Why do I have to say it every time? Can't I just say Mephisto? That's easier. The time had been arranged by Maou. He had explicitly told Mephisto to get into the habit of taking batteries out of phones. It's much more difficult to be tracked if one does so. The devil at the bar had received Mao's letter 3 days earlier. Mephisto was a representative of the Great Japan Revolutionary School and had put the office address on the website, making it public without concern. The first words of the letter read, "I want you to kill a certain person." Even a date and time had been specified, along with a meticulously detailed plan for murder. At first he believed it to be nothing more than a prank or a trap set by communists. What? Wait. What am I reading? Mephi. Yeah, hi Pancho. I'll just say Mephisto, I hope it doesn't bother you. It's just such a long name, come on. But after reading further about Mao's advocacy, reprimanding corrupt politicians and the Fourth Estate, his interest was piqued. Even though the punctuation was carelessly atrocious and the writer seemed uncultured, the letter's passion had touched Mephisto. And through last night's phone call, he had confirmed that they were indeed comrades. He called himself Azai, but had added, "Just call me Maou." Maou announced that he had killed a man. He'd pushed him down a staircase. He'd hidden himself in an obscure place, waited for him to come back home, and shoved the man when he wasn't looking. What a fantastic stand-up guy. Even though the methods weren't complex, as long as there weren't any witnesses, it would be hard to place it as anything but an accident. Mephisto asked him why that man had been marked for death. He liked the answer. Because he was a homosexual. What the Eh? Mephisto shared that belief. Holy heck. Ooh. Oh god. Great Japan has no need for such weaklings. Say what the Oh, what am I reading? Oh, this is so painful. Hi, Moth-chan. Sorry that you dropped in at such a moment. Oh my god. Upon asking, he discovered that the victim had been a clothing designer. Oh no, wow, how dare he. Supposedly, he publicly announced that he was a homosexual and had received widespread media attention because of it. He was definitely a man that deserved to die. Oh gosh. Mephisto saw Maou as a man with decisive feelings and the courage to act on them. Oh my god. He was happy to find another individual who worried for the future of the nation. Oh god, I want to hide under the desk. This is so uncomfortable. Okay. The call came, but the receiver kept silent. Maou. Oh, we get a voice. Nice. Ugh. The man waited to speak until he could confirm Mephisto's voice. Such care is to be respected. There's the voice. Thank you. Thank you. At least I can enjoy his voice because I like the voice actor, okay? So there's like one part of it that makes it a little bit better. But Jesus Christ. His voice sounds quite young, but nationalism has nothing to do with age. Oh.
殺すのだな。
改革に犠牲はつきものでしょう。
手紙にあったお前の計画は完璧だ。
Mao laughed to himself.
計画は完璧だが、まだ私のことを信用なさってはいないようですね。
同志を疑うつもりはないが、こういう話は腰を据えてじっくりとしたいものだ。ひとまず一度は。
申し訳ありませんが、お断りします。
なぜだ。
お互いの顔を知らぬ方が、公僕の目も欺きやすいというものです。
He had a point. Just giving the impression that everything was done independently would be enough to send the police investigation in the wrong direction.
しかし、あなたのお気持ちもわかります。
Mao said.
もう一人、殺してみせましょう。それで、私が本気であることを理解していただければと思います。
Oh, God.
誰をやるんだ。
外国人です。我が国に彼らの住まう場所などないということを教えてやらねば。
Oh my God. So his sin is just being a foreigner? That's it?
心意気は称賛に値する。英霊たちもお喜びになるだろう。
He seems to be an intelligent man. Yeah, I would heavily question that. His will also seems to be strong. There's even a hint of insanity in his cold words. That I do agree with. The problem lies with Mao's background. In other words, if he has such a bold plan, why does he still need me? Mao spoke as if reading Mephisto's mind.
私はこの殺人の末、声明文を寄贈して堕落した日本人に訴えかける所存です。しかし、私は個人で動いている。今の政治では少数意見は必然的に無視されるものです。私は真に信頼できる同志を求めていました。威厳ある組織を。しかし、どの政治団体も手ぬるい。どいつもこいつも口だけです。もはや話せばわかる時代ではないというのに。
His speech suddenly became firm, and his next words shook Mephisto's heart even further.
あなたは違う。あなたのウェブサイトに掲げられた主張に確信した。あなたは英雄だ。私の声明文を託せるのはあなたしかいない。
As if desiring to suppress his climaxing emotions, he took a gulp of water. A beautiful feeling in the air, like a revolution was about to begin.
一人殺すと言ったな。いつ殺すんだ。
The fact that these people think of themselves as revolutionaries is making my skin crawl.
明日です。
Oh God.
詳しく聞こ
う。ええ、夜は長い。
Okay. Late that night, Canon returned to my apartment. So you're really staying here? Did Ikuko-san and Mr. Hilton give you permission?
ヒルトン先生はあんまりプライベートに関わらないの。日本語もあんまりできないから、なんか気が楽だよ。
If he can't say it in Japanese, then he has no hold over me. That's kind of like what that sounds. Ikuko-san said it was okay.
OK だって。明日は車で迎えに来るって。
That's good to hear, but my body was a bit stiff from the cold, so I went to the kitchen to boil some water. Would you like some coffee? Again with the coffee in the middle of the night, but okay.
兄さんのコーヒーは美味しい。でも砂糖は入れないでください。
She's probably being mindful of what she eats.
兄さんって暗いよね。
Yeah, that sounds right. Why so rude all of a sudden?
何考えてたの?
I was thinking that if you win, someone will die. Wait, what? Okay, this wasn't an actual quote, it was just his thought. I was thinking about how cute you are. Yeah, sure. I tried shrugging my shoulders. I thought she would make fun of me again, but Kanon's eyes just sparkled.
本当? 2回目だね、兄さんに好きって言われるのは。
I didn't say I loved... Nah, nah, no, come on, let's not go there. We'd be making Bea a target too. No, it's alright. To each their own, okay? Whatever floats their boat. If they can sleep after that and it's, you know, something they enjoy, whatever. Let them go for it. I personally would make tea. I have tea with me right now as well. Wait, the second time? Yeah, Kanon is cute.
兄さんと会って最初の頃、
Oh, yeah, what? I have a vague memory of it. At the time I had just learned that Kanon was Gonzo's daughter and I wanted her to have a good impression of me. And you told her you loved her? What? I don't really remember it. Maybe I said she was cute or that I liked her or something.
のんちゃんはのんちゃんが好きな人が好きです。
I can't believe she took it so seriously. Of course I don't hate her or anything, but...
兄さんはネクラで嘘つきだけど、のんちゃんのことは大好きです。
I feel like he has expressed not very positive feelings towards her before, but okay. Yep.
じゃなかったら頼んでないのにコーヒーとか出してくれません。ご飯も用意してくれません。
Kanon's love language. Make me coffee and food. Yes. What a dumb thing to say. It's not dumb.
なんか元気出てきた。明日はすっごい点数出しちゃうぞ。
It's good that you feel well. Why don't you do a quad jump next time?
あれはもうやめた。
Oh?
今日のテレビ見てなかったの？のんちゃんインタビューで4回転しないって宣言したんだよ。
Really? That's too bad. Everyone was so looking forward to that. What do you always call it? A trump? Kanon shook her head like a puppy.
あれはやるもんじゃないよ。男の選手でも腰と膝にズシーンとくるらしいよ。のんちゃんもカナダで試してみて、こいつはやばいって思った。
She's basically exposing herself to accidents and getting hurt. You mean the rest of the performance is really wobbly after that?
Yes.
I didn't quite like that. Wait, what? I didn't quite like... What don't you... What? You don't like that her performance wouldn't be wobbly after trying to do a complicated thing? Okay. Won't your popularity suffer, Kanon-chan? That sounds like something Eiichi would say.
みんな新しい技が大好きだからね。
She bit her lip, talking as if it were a painful problem.
でも心配ない。結局勝てばいいから。
Can you, though? According to Coach Eiichi, your fundamentals aren't that great. We're gonna base it on what Eiichi says? Really?
ジャンプに比べればの話だよ。
Your jumps, huh?
4回転を狙わない分だけトリプルをきっちり決めるから。
Yeah, that sounds like a better plan. She's got a point. If her quad jump fails, then it will lead to trouble. It's easier to guarantee a high score if she just does a good triple. Just promise not to fall, alright? When a skater jumps, even the audience gets nervous.
あれれ、兄さん知らないの？のんちゃんはジャンプはジュニアの時からほとんど転んだことないんだよ。
Wow.
アクセルはちょっとやらかしちゃったことあるけど、序盤のコンビネーションジャンプなんかは一度も転んだことないんだよ。
I felt like she wasn't really taking things seriously. Okay, but what about that Seta Makiko girl? You're not the only Japanese skater in good condition this year.
今日一緒にインタビューされた。瀬田さんかわいい。でも勝つのはのんちゃんなのでした。
There's something about her self-confidence that I find incredibly refreshing. Like, I don't perceive it like arrogance. I feel like it's just grounded in the fact that she knows herself and she worked really hard and practiced these things, that they're kind of like second nature to her now. So she has the right to be confident in that. I like that. I like that a lot about her. She knows what she can do. Exactly. Exactly. Too bad my ass. Oh my god. saying one thing and then thinking the other, and me being in the head of this character is so confusing. Ah, aren't you being a touch overconfident? I asked her, dismayed. Just because you haven't fallen before doesn't mean you'll never fall. Yeah, but it's a much better attitude and just overall mental state to be in, to think that I got this, I will not fall, instead of like worrying, what if I fall, what if I fall, what if I fall, because then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Right? Better project the positive side into the universe, right? Kano suddenly got quiet. I also closed my mouth. She was obviously unhappy, yet she forced a smile. Yeah. You go, girl. What? I drew in a breath. The light shining from her eyes as she gazed at me was something that I had never seen before.
5歳の時からスケートやってるの。バレエも習った。みんなが遊んでる夏休みに合宿にも行くの。CM にも出させられるの。わかるかな?
Yeah, it means she sacrificed things and worked her ass off to be where she is right now. It's not just empty words, it's all based on her hard work. In the face of that frozen expression of hers, I didn't even dare to breathe. Good. Behind those repressed words were absolute confidence. 瀬田さんはインタビューで私のことをライバルだと言った。私に勝ちたいみたい。そんなこと考えてるから勝てないの。余計なこと考えたらダメなの。私は普通の学園生であることを求めなかったし、パパが怖い人なのもどうでもいいの。Yeah, she's absolutely right. Just focus on yourself. Stop thinking about, oh, what if the other person, or what if this other thing, or whatever. Just focus on you. You, tunnel vision on delivering the best thing that you can do. And then, yeah, whatever happens, happens. Whether you win or not. And then after that, you can move on with your head held high, because you did your best instead of worrying about things that you cannot control. パパと母さんが一緒に暮らしていないのも理由があるんだろうけど、あえて聞かないの。ショックを受けてる暇なんてないから。兄さんもそう。いろいろ隠し事があるみたいだけど、聞かれたくなさそうだから私も興味を持たないの。どうすれば得点が伸びるのか。私はそれだけを考えてる。That emotionless speech forced my posture to straighten, yeah. Those powerful, daunting eyes resembled another pair I'd seen somewhere. 去年の故障を心配するような声もあるけど余計なお世話。テレビの人は視聴率を取るのが仕事。私も数字を取るのが仕事。That is a very healthy mindset. I approve. 誰よりも高い点数を取って観客をあっと驚かせてあげるの。感動したければすればいい。握手もサインもしてあげる。そんなことより勝利の瞬間がたまらないから何千何万回と練習してきた。Okay. I'd forgotten. わかった兄さん。This girl is Azai Gonzo's daughter. 明日は来てね。それが本当だって教えてあげる。Well, that's what you get for looking down on her, haha. Just as I wade casually through school, the arena is the place for Kanon to show her true self. After finishing what she wanted to say, Kanon reverted back to her bashful expression of a few moments earlier and went into the changing room. But I was rooted in place, unable to return to reality. Tomorrow I have to go whether I want to or not. That fearless smile, that gaze, oozing an excess of confidence. Why can't we date Kanon instead of murdering homosexual? Oh god, I wouldn't wish dating this guy on Kanon. Like, no please. Let's not punish her in that way, she does not deserve it. But I hear what you're saying. I hear you, Bea. Right, so that gaze oozing an excess of confidence. It was inside that crowded arena that I realized the true essence of Azai Kanon. Enthusiastic applause exploded from the spectators' seats. In the middle of this thunder, Cannon leaped into the ice. Onto the ice, not into it. Tracing a semicircle along the wall, which had been plastered with advertising banners, she stopped in the middle and threw the judges a flirtatious smile. The arena was covered in an almost suffocating silence. Her face was shining on the giant screen installed on the inner wall. Her expression was entirely foreign to the Cannon I know. Yes, I get it, man. It held a challenge. Her tightly pursed lips, with the calculated application of makeup, stood out beautifully. A sense of power radiated from her. It was something that a person who knew the ordinary Cannon wouldn't be able to imagine. She lowered her stance, putting that uncharacteristically long right arm at the top of her left leg, almost like she was grasping the hilt of a sword at her hip. The sensation that she's about to go to war isn't too far-fetched given the situation. After the dance-like woodwind intro, Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries began playing. In the opera cycle, this one, I can't read German, I'm really sorry. The Valkyries hold the task of guiding fallen warriors to Valhalla. Those young ladies, also sometimes called shield maidens, don their armor, flourish their swords, and ride their winged steeds toward the battlefield. As the horns and bassoons, I don't know what those are, probably some instruments, came in, Cannon charged across the ice with the courage of a true Valkyrie. Aww. Damn, she's fast, I thought. It's on a completely different level of speed than the others. It gave the illusion that the rink had become smaller. Just when I thought that she was going from one end to the other, she took a casual curve and turned to skate backwards faster than my mind could follow. A violent sound, threatening to grind the ice into powder, exploded, like the hooves of a winged horse striking against the earth. Following that, Cannon's limbs spun in the air. She jumped high, floating in the air, almost like she had grown feathers herself. Cannon said that there was no way she'd fall, and sure enough, as if the gods had determined it before her jump began, she came down in a perfect landing. The blade, like the axis of a gyroscope, held Cannon steady as she elegantly spread her wing-like arms apart. After finishing her series of continuous jumps, Cannon was bathed in applause. Even though I don't really know just what kind of jump it was, I'm pretty sure that it was difficult and worth a lot of points. Even I could tell it was an extremely artistic jump. Several had attempted this jump before Cannon, but each one had landed with too few rotations and spun around after the fact in order to appear to succeed. Cannon's jumps are simply longer than the others. Her bullet-like speed enables such acts. But it seemed from watching it on TV that the faster one goes, the harder it is to maintain the jump timing. Although, if one just glides slowly into the jump, no one's going to applaud. Balancing the right height and distance together is likely next to impossible. The players who failed at their jumps could attest to that. The second jump was also completed with almost no effort, and Cannon's assault continued. She began a step sequence of showy choreography. The captivating performance she was giving with her upper body was enough to steal all your attention, but if you managed to tear your eyes away, you would see that her legwork was just as smooth. She did a delicate turn on one skate while maintaining her speed. Those elegant and excruciatingly correct steps bore the grace of a warrior princess performing a sword dance. The third jump, she launched herself while gliding forward. Shards of ice spewed forth like dragon's blood. I thought that she was just bragging, but after seeing her in action, I was more than reassured. Not a single fleeting thought of her falling entered my mind. After a wonderful landing, Cannon was enveloped in the abnormal passion of the arena. However, it was not the shrill sounds of cheering from before. There were sighs of admiration, gasps of astonishment. Sounds of praise, the lot of them, yet praise born out of awe bordering on fear. Absolutely bewitching. On the screen, Kanon's visage was visited by a ghostly aura. The girl in that image would kill any foe who dared to turn his blade against the gods. Hearing Ride of the Valkyries usually reminds people of the movie Apocalypse Now. The Lieutenant Colonel... fuck, I hate this word. You skip a sound there, right? Whatever. With an eerie cheerfulness about him, assaults a Viet Cong village from the skies with the blaring Ride of the Valkyries as his partner. Colonel? Yeah, I think that's what trips me up, because I see the L, right? So I try to say an L, but it's not that. And you skip the second O, right? That one's silent. Ugh. Yeah, okay. The composer, Richard is it Wagner or Wagner? No, it sounds weird. In Romanian, you would say Wagner. How do you say it in English? Is it like a V or a W? Anyway, was a rather similar case. There's no doubt he left a big impact on musical history, but his infamy will live on forever. He had a self-centered, indulgent personality and believed that it's only natural for everyone to invest in a genius such as himself. There was a period of time that he was very intimate with Nietzsche, and their ideology would hurl them both into the modern world through the Nazi Party. Is it still? Is it like a V? It sounds so weird to say it like that way. He was a genius and a tyrant. Amidst the mysterious spectacle of the enchanted arena, the tyrant of the ice decorated the finale of this musical masterpiece, ending with a tornadic rotation. Interesting word. Kanon put on her ending pose. When the music ended and the crowds remembered to breathe, a thunderous applause exploded throughout the stadium. The entire arena burst into a standing ovation. Before I realized what was going on, I was also standing and clapping. In 2 minutes and 40 seconds, she generated enough force to grab everyone's hearts. Her scores clearly were also on a separate level from the others. Obliterating those before her, Kanon achieved the top rank in a single breath. The spectators were boiling over with delight. They had probably been touched by a beautiful rebirth after the disaster last year. They don't know the real Kanon. She was in the so-called Kiss and Cry, the place where skaters await their results. Her face was on the screen. Kanon beat her personal best, but she did not jump for joy or hug Coach Hilton, who was sitting beside her. She just wore a calm, stoic smile. A reporter pointed a microphone at her. Kanon said only one thing. No more than a whisper. It was almost like she was using all her energy to contain her powerful joy. Almost like she was conceitedly saying, "Of course I won." What? That didn't sound like that at all. That sounded like, "I'm happy I did well, but this is not the end, there's still tomorrow," right? So she's like not getting ahead of herself. How is that conceitedly saying, "Of course I won"? This dude, oh lord. Anyway. Well, if it isn't Eichi-san. I met up with Eichi and Tsubaki outside. The outside air cooled my skin and it felt excellent. What was up with you telling Kanon her steps were bad or whatever? I thought she was pretty awesome. You still think that after seeing the real thing? Yeah, definitely. It was all you. Sure, for sure. I found the musical selection to be particularly excellent. Eiichi seemed to be overly excited as he was beginning to talk like his real self even in front of Tsubaki.
やっぱりヒルトンは偉大だな。コーチが違うとこうまで変わるもんかね。
There's really that big of a difference?
違う違う、去年までのカノンはよ、なんつうの、どっちかっつうとキャワイイ系で売ってる系だったのよ。
I had no idea.
元コーチの金崎育子には悪いけど、カノンにはああいう悪魔系が似合うよ。
ちょっと怖すぎたけどね。でもああいうカノンちゃんも素敵だよね。
If you look at her physique closely, she's tall with long limbs. She looks like a foreigner.
なんかの記事で読んだけど、ガキの頃からバレエやって体柔らかくして、飯も自分で管理して食ってたらしいぜ。
If things keep going like this, she can easily win tomorrow's bout, too. But suddenly, Eiichi frowned.
ああ、それなんだけどよ。
What?
明日のフリーな。フリーのプログラムはあんまり評判良くねえんだわ。プログラムっつうか、曲か？
Huh? Why? Oh, really? Since today was Rite of the Valkyries, would tomorrow be an excerpt from the Eroica Symphony or something like that?
そう思うだろ。でも何考えてんだか知らねえけど、今日のショートとは180度違う曲調なんだよな。
Why is that necessarily a bad thing? It shows that she has range. Look, tell me, just tell me
お前
already.
ならわかると思うけどよ。
After Eiichi eventually told me the title of the piece, even I was confused. Isn't that a bad idea?
だろ？今日のイメージじゃねえよな。
でもカノンちゃんはそれでこの前のカナダ大会は優勝してるんだよね。だったら大丈夫じゃないかな。
I agree to Tsubaki's opinion. Kanon's technique is incredible. Why would the choice of song affect her score in any way?
無理んだよ。スケートはよ、芸術だぜ。得点を決める要素には曲の解釈って項目もあるくらいだ。実際前のカナダじゃその辺がだいぶ弱かったらしいぜ。
Then why doesn't she just change the song?
だよな。なんでまたあんな曲なんだろうな。噂によると元コーチの母親にまだ義理立てしてるって話もあるけどな。
浅井くんはそういう話しないの？
そうだよ。何か聞いてねえのか？
Not at all.
お前ら本当に家族なのかよ。
Eiichi was thoroughly disgusted.
また明日ね。
京介もちゃんと来いよ。
Yeah, maybe I'm being a bit cold, but Kanon can achieve her goal whether I'm there or not. Today's performance verified that fact. The audience's cheers don't mean all that much to Kanon. Just as Azai Gonzo relies only on himself, Azai Kanon has a firm belief in her skills. Okay, I'm off again. There was indeed another death. Oh, Lord. It was 10 o'clock that night. Mephisto had reached the docks in the Western District. The flashlight he had brought shone on the blackened blood. It formed a thin line on the old grey asphalt, and droplets continued on toward the dark waters. A single stab to the lung and then thrown into the sea. He remembered Mao's cold voice. The winter torrents around this area are quite powerful, so the corpse should have drifted far away by now. There can be no murder investigation if there's no body. His name would merely be recorded on the missing persons list. 90,000 annually and counting. Maou emphasized that part of his murder plan. Just like Maou had promised he would, Mephisto found a driver's license at the edge of the boardwalk. He picked up the bloody card to check the name. He was satisfied. This Westerner had been employed as a ballet dancer. Japan has its own proper traditional dances. Oh god. In order to correct the American cultural invasion after last century's great defeat, people like him must be eradicated from this nation. You can tell that I'm reading that with so much enthusiasm. Not. Maou is a person I can rely on. His battle spirit was already boiling. It just wouldn't do to fall short of Mao's expectations. Suddenly a voice spoke up behind him. Mephisto immediately hid the bloody license inside his jacket.
すいません。
What are you doing there, Haru? He slowly turned his head around and beheld the ghost before him. It met the flashlight's glare. Mephisto stepped back in surprise.
危ないっすよ。
The sea was behind him. The ghost extended its hand and stepped forward. Stepped? When he looked closely, he realized that it was simply a girl with extremely long hair. What did you think? It was the girl from The Ring or something? She seemed to be enrolled as a student somewhere, and she wore a school uniform with a ribbon in the front.
女学生がこんな時間まで何をしている?
How deplorable. Girls are getting worse by the year. Okay, sure. Why don't they realize that the improper things they're doing, such as wandering in the night, are precisely what's making the crime rate go up? Oh god, I gotta love that. Gotta love that. It's all of these damn girls going out at night that are increasing the crime rate. It's not the criminals that are perpetrating the crimes. No, no, no. Oh my god. Oh, jeez. She'd be partially to blame if she was attacked.
何をしているんだ貴様?
So I do agree that like this is a bit dangerous. I'm not sure what she's trying to do. But pinning it on the girls being out at night. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, I'm wondering that too though. Like, is this seems like a sketchy situation. Why are you there, Haru?
ああ、いえ、この辺はちょこちょこ来るんすよ。考え事をしているときは特に。あ、いえ、この先にちょっとした見栄えのする場所がありましてね。
She spoke in mumbles, completely indirect.
昔大好きな人とお別れした場所でしてね。この町は変わってしまいましたけど、この辺りだけは大して変わってないなと懐かしんでいたんです。
名前を言え。
あ、藤原紀香です。
Okay. The girl looked at him dimly through her bangs.
藤原。今が何時だかわかるか? おい。
ああ、11時くらいですかね。
子供は家で寝てる時間だろ。
一応18歳以上なんすけどね、これでも。
She said in a joking
そん
manner.
なことより、お怪我はありませんか？
怪我?
ええ、足元に点々と。
She must be talking about the blood.
私は知らん。ジョギングをしていたら、ふと気になって調べてみた。
はあ、そうっすか。
She sighed as if exhausted.
私は帰る。お前も夜更かししないで、ちゃんと帰宅するんだぞ。
あ、お気遣いありがとうございます。
It didn't fit her creepy exterior, but she bowed deeply. Mephisto passed by the girl and walked away.
あ、ちょっといいですか？
Being called, he stopped.
ミヒャエル・ユグムントさんとよくお会いします？
Hey? Mephisto opened his eyes wide. He knew that name well. That man now laid at the bottom of the sea. Ah, it's the name of the guy.
誰だって？
ですからユグムントさんです。バレエの先生ですよ。今話題の浅井カノンに指導したこともあるんです。
そんな奴は知らん。
The girl, disappointed, drooped her shoulders. He suddenly felt a wave of uneasiness wash over him.
なぜ私にそんな話をする？
いえ、ジョギングされてたんですよね。っていうことは、この辺にお住まいなのかなと。
So the foreigner lives here too. His sense of suspicion grew ever stronger. Why would a girl that he'd never seen before talk to him about a dead man?
自分はあの方のファンでして、もしあったらサインもらっておいてください。
いいだろう。連絡先を教えろ。
マジっすか？やったわあ。
Okay, where is this going? The girl, without a shred of weariness or worry, told him her cell number. Just a coincidence? Mephisto said goodbye to the girl with the innocent smile. In any case, he has a way to contact her. He can get rid of her quickly if anything happens. Can you though? I wouldn't underestimate that. At the bar, as always, Mephisto called Maou
死
immediately.
体を確認した。見事なものだな。
これで私を信用していただけましたか？
もちろんだ。
He gave a firm answer. He was now well aware of the seriousness backing the young man on the other end of the line. It was time to initiate a revolution. Ah, jeez.
では、明日だな。
手順通り
あ
9時にお願いします。
わかっている。二度も殺人を犯したお前の計画だ。
A drink was set before him. He worked hard to suppress the urge to shout out for Mao to click glasses. After hearing about her, the woman they had discussed seemed unforgivable to him. She was supposedly a figure skating coach. Oh, okay. In the past, she had been a great player, who had even participated in the Olympics, but after retiring, she began to live a depraved life? What? Her name was Kanesaki Ikuko. She published a book criticizing the very skating association that brought her fame, and there were even rumors about her having illicit relations with a member of the Yakuza. At her prime, she had a lean and beautiful figure, but she's put on weight since then. Oh my god, the crime! She put on weight! After a life of athletic high performance, the woman had some chocolate. Yes, for that she must die. She doesn't care about her income, instead choosing to live a disgusting life by leeching off of her daughter's prize money. She's the worst kind of parent. It seems there's something actually going on with her. I don't think it's that the way they're describing it here. If even one such monster disappeared from the earth, the future of education would be ever brighter. Ha! The irony. Oh, sorry, mother. Why did I read monster? Yeah, the irony of like thinking that if this person disappeared from the world, everything would be better. When, like, I would say the same about them. Anyway. Unexpectedly, Maou posed this question. Mephisto took a moment to consider. He remembered the face of the girl he had just met.
やはり顔を見られたら殺した方がいいのか？
いい質問ですね。
He sighed as if impressed.
場合によります。
というと？
目撃者というのは非常に厄介な存在です。特徴を覚えられた場合、警察が最新鋭の機器を使ってかなり正確なモンタージュを作成します。
下手をすれば私の顔が交番や地下鉄にばらまかれるってこと。
しかし、
He stopped for a second.
目撃者というものは大抵の場合、事件の光景よりも事件で味わった感情を記憶しているものです。犯人の持っていたナイフが恐ろしかったとか、警官の発砲に耳が割れそうになったとか、そういうことは覚えています。
なるほど。周りと同化してしまえということだな。
もちろん、あなたが大層な肥満であったり、鼻の下にブドウのようなほくろがあるのなら話は変わってきますが。
安心しろ。酒は好きだが、ビール腹には縁遠い。
Mephisto was an ordinary, tired-looking man, perhaps a bit on the tall
と
side.
はいえ、目があったら殺した方がいい。
目か。
目は最も感情を伝える部位の一つです。あなたの瞳に異常を感じれば、相手はきっと忘れないことでしょう。
So try to keep your face as hidden as possible.
なら、もう一人殺しておかなくては。
Mephisto opened his mouth only after taking a large swig.
実は、さっき港で妙な女に出くわしてな。幽霊かと思ったよ。ただの女学生だったが、 膝まで届きそうなくらい髪が長かった。
Amazingly, Mao didn't say a thing. Unable to stand the silence, Mephisto continued.
藤原とか名乗ってた。海に沈んだ男のファンらしい。連絡先は聞いておいた。なんだ。何を考えている？
There was no response. Perhaps he had mentioned something that angered Mao. Or perhaps he had an idea as to who the girl was.
ぜひ殺してください。
Sorry, it seems I scrolled a little bit too fast. After a long silence, Mao spoke quietly, almost to himself. Mephistopheles sensed murderous intent from those words, though only for an instant.
その少女こそ、あるいは。
Sure. For an athlete, you sure do walk slow. It's been almost an hour since the tournament ended for the day.
コーチとお話しして、ちょっと調整して、その後インタビューとかしてたら遅くなった。
She had a blank look on her face as she threw her bags on the sofa.
兄さん、何してたの？魚臭いよ。
I'm cooking, and yes, it is fish. I must have a truly impoverished nature. I bought 10 sori from the supermarket just because they were on sale.
のんちゃんもう食べたよ。
That's alright, we'll eat it tomorrow then. As for the rest, I'll give it to Tsubaki. She lives close by after all. I made some coffee while talking to Kanon, who was lazily stretched out on the sofa. The day was amazing.
何が？
You were. Ah.
演技が？そう？
For a moment I had to do a double take and actually understand that he was actually praising her because it feels so weird. Anyway. She zoned out for a little bit. You took first place effortlessly. There were a full 20 points between you and that Russian in second place.
ああ、そうだっけ？じゃあそれなりだね。
She doesn't seem to have any interest in her opponents. What are your thoughts on today then?
はい。結果に満足せずに精進したいと思います。
That's just a line you memorized for the camera.
本当にそう思うんだよ。だって NKH 杯は外国の選手も来るけど、世界で一番強い人が集まるわけじゃないもの。
What? It was a piece of cake for you because you were only up against small fries?
そんなつもりはないけど、結局そういうことかも。
Because she said it so innocently, it didn't even sound offensive.
のんちゃんは世界一になりたいのです。
Right.
トップ、優勝、一番、最強、王様、そういう言葉が好きです。
I understand. Then I pointed to the sofa cover that Kanon had wrinkled up when I wasn't paying attention. I understand, so fix that.
やだ、どうせすぐにぐっちゃにするから。
Then just don't wrinkle it up in the first place. Reflect on it and make sure that you don't do it
王
again.
は顧みないものです。
You're not the king yet.
兄さんにはかなわないな。
She reluctantly straightened up the cover. Do you want to take a bath? The water's ready.
気が利くね。やっぱり兄さんの家に来て正解だったな。
What do you mean? Surely Koko-san heated up the water for you too.
うん。すごい気を使ってくれるよ。
A glimmer of loneliness shone in Kanon's eyes.
コーチは、のんちゃんが世界一になることばっかり考えている人だから、いつもヘコヘコしてるよ。
She lowered her head and stared at the empty floor. What does it mean? She never goes against me. I remembered the thing that had bothered me and asked about it. Well, about your program for the free skate tomorrow.
ん？
It doesn't really seem like it's your style, so why? For an instant, Kanon pursed her lips in hesitation.
知らない。コーチがヒルトン先生にお願いしたみたい。でも知らない。
I didn't ask Kanon, who still called Ikoko-san coach, anything else.
じゃ、一緒に寝よ
I'm not sleeping.
う。のんちゃんね、何かを抱っこしてないと眠れないの。
Get the stuffed toy or something. He's not worth it, girl. Don't act so bratty. You know we shouldn't be doing stuff like that.
大丈夫だよ。誰も見てないよ。
For Christ's sake, what am I supposed to do with this girl? The shadow floating behind her smile is bugging me a bit. Oh, well, I guess it wouldn't hurt to stay by her side until she falls asleep. I'll go ahead and lie down. No, I don't think so. Okay. The choice is I'll go ahead and lie down. Okay. Fine, I get it, but I'm nocturnal, so I'll be reading on the bed.
ありがとう。5秒で寝つくから。
Hurry up and take your bath.
はい。
She saluted and went to the changing room with light steps. Geez, I sat on the chair in the study and stretched lazily. Kanon should be able to win easily tomorrow, so there will be another victim. Thinking about that made me depressed. Even so, I don't really have any methods at my disposal to do anything about it. Sure, none at all. I don't... Ugh. What the hell, I'm getting dizzy again. Ooh, there it is. It's probably because of Akimoto's big mouth. Damn it. Phew, even so. This is outside my calculations. To think that Usami had already come into contact with Mephisto. Why did Usami appear at that dock tonight? Usami is in contact with Azai Gonzo, so she should have a list of possible victims. People who are affiliated with Kanon, be it through school, skating, blood relation. Even if the list was filtered through, there should have been more than 10 people. And from that to correctly pinpoint that German ballet dancer as the target. How do you say this? Michael Jugmund does indeed live near the Western District's port. Maybe Usami and the rest were watching his house and discovered Mephisto acting suspiciously on the boardwalk. Why? Is it a coincidence? Extremely good luck? If it wasn't, then I have to admit that I underestimated Usami. I let loose a sardonic laugh. I don't get it. Along with the sound of the shower starting, a person's voice came from the bathroom. There's no towel, it said. What a cheeky woman. I'll prepare one right away. I look forward to tomorrow. I'll have Usami show me her skills so I can see just how good she really is. Oh goodness.
兄さん眠そうだね。
Yet you're always full of energy. The next morning I walked Kanon to the building entrance. After a while, a high-class foreign car drove up and approached the curb.
おはよう、京介くん。
Ikuko-san slowly emerged from the left-hand driver's seat. Good morning, nice car.
そう？もう2世代も前の車よ。
Even so, I'm sure she could afford to buy 3 family cars.
それじゃ兄さん、行ってくるね。
Aw, look at her full outfit, it's so cute. Kanon ducked into the back seat with enthusiasm. Nobody sat in the passenger seat.
ごめんなさいね。私からも連絡しておこうと思ったんだけど、つい忙しくて。
It's okay. She was talking about Kanon.
何か言ってなかった？
No, nothing in particular.
私の悪口とか？
The strange smile she developed over the years surfaced. I couldn't distinguish between her sincerity and sarcasm. No, she just said she was going to do her best and set her sights on the World Championships.
ならいいけど。
She put her hand against her sagging cheek suggestively. Speaking of the World Championships, she was an Olympic athlete in the past.
カノンは甘えん坊だから大変でしょ？でも、それが可愛いのよね。
I felt only unrest. Oblivious to the reason behind it, I knew only that I wouldn't be able to continue a conversation with this person.
ねえ、行かないの？
Kanon popped her head out the window. She bore a very unamused look on her face. No, maybe it's just my imagination. She just rarely looks so expressionless.
何かあったら連絡してね。
Ikuko-san nodded slightly before getting into the car. After a quiet ignition, the car drove off, followed by a black limo. In the limo behind Ikuko-san's car sat 2 huge muscle men. They're probably Gonzo's men here to protect Ikuko-san. However, what will happen when they get to the arena? What will happen when they enter areas only official tournament personnel are allowed to enter? Even Yakuza could be thrown out of there. This opportunity may be the one Maou is intending to exploit. I got a phone call. It's Gonzo. This is Kyosuke.
宇佐美はどうだ
I don't know, I haven't seen her since last
連
time.
れてこいすぐにだ
The line cut right after he finished. What's this new development? I rolled my eyes and clicked my tongue as I dialed Usami's
宇
number.
佐美でございます。
She picked up the phone after only one ring. I love that.
宇佐美でございます。
Good to hear you're as disgusting as ever. What are you up to right now?
今はフランス風の喫茶でカッファを頼んでいます。
Quit bluffing.
本当です。新聞も読んでます。カノンのことがデカデカと載ってますね。
Usami wasn't in the arena
上
yesterday.
々の戦女神とかなってますよ。
You should go see it in person at least once. It's incredibly intoxicating.
あ、ちょっとすいません。
Suddenly, I heard some sort of rustling noise. Okay. What? What are you doing? However, there was no response. If I listened carefully, I could hear the weak sound of country music in the background. She really was in a shop somewhere. Hello?
何ですか？
I decided to cut to the chase. Gonzo wants you. Come quickly.
マジですか。
She seemed to sink into deep
わかり
consideration.
ました。今セントラル街にいましてね。
I'll come to meet you then. I'll call you back when I'm almost there. After Usami agreed, I started walking. The day was especially warm. I met Usami shortly after calling her out. What are you doing out here anyway?
もちろん尾行です。
Obviously. Tailing who?
それはまだなんとも。怪しい人ではあるんですが、白だったらご本人に迷惑がかかりますので。
Suspicious how?
昨日ばったり出くわしましてね。まだ事件に関係があるかどうか確信が持てないんですが。どうでしょう。
She glanced behind her. Save the details until we meet with Gonzo.
もしかして何の進展もなかったら撃ち殺されるんですかね。
It's possible. Oh god.
え
Usami's face suddenly tensed. Tokyo Bay, no, no, no. Her eyes widened as she stared at something behind me. What's wrong? Oh! Huh? I turned my head around and a tall woman stood behind me. Who? What? Okay. Her lustrous coat was strangely vivid under the winter sun. A faint smile was plastered on her face as she looked at us. The woman slowly approached Usami and me. Her soft, straight black hair shone brilliantly under the sunlight. What the? I asked Usami behind me. Wait. Ah, because he turned around, so now Usami was behind him. For a moment I was confused. Hey, Usami. She was entirely speechless. Could the suspicious person Usami spoke of be... Finally, the woman spoke.
久しぶりね。ある？
Who is this person? Why are we meeting a new character right now? Jeez. I turned back to Usami without thinking.
You... 雪だ
Okay. Usami broke into a dash. She moved incredibly fast. I was shocked by the scene and she vanished into the crowd before I even noticed. What? Hey? Yuki? My eyes met with a woman named Yuki before I had grasped the situation. As we confronted each other, I noticed that we were around the same height. She had long eyebrows. Long eyebrows, okay. And determined eyes. She had long arms and legs like Kanon. She wasn't at all like an ordinary Japanese person. The black suitcase in her hands conjured images of an able businesswoman in my mind.
こんにちは。私は時田由紀。あなたは？
This woman, capable of unnerving even the stoic Usami, asked me in a peaceful tone. Kyosuke, Azai Kyosuke. You would be?
FBI よ。
Uh-huh. What? Well, I wondered aghast if she really was telling me the truth. Her next question rushed in.
あなたは春の恋人？
Oh god, please, no, no. Don't freak me out like that. I'm just an acquaintance of hers. Tokita smiled and opened the suitcase.
これ、私の連絡先。
She handed me a business card.
春に伝えておいて。
An evil glow sparkled in her eyes.
それじゃあ、また会いましょう。
Who is that person? What? She left after saying her piece. And then there was me, still puzzled and not a step away from where I was when she came in. Eyes set? An acquaintance of Usami's?
あざいさん、あざいさん。
Oh, you're back. She was gasping for air.
ユキは何か言っていましたか？
Not really, only that she had her eyes set on you.
げ
Who is that woman? She's incredibly beautiful. Usami shook her head with no sign of stopping. Oh, sorry about that.
いや、私の友達です。
Friend? Okay. You mean you've really had friends before? If she's a friend of Usami's, then chances are she's a weirdo. Speaking of which, what does it mean when you say you have your eyes set on a friend?
ユキが狙っているのは私の B 地区です。
Huh? Sweater puppies? Oh, your boobs? What? What am I reading? What? I'd never noticed before, but Usami's boobs were bigger than those of some pin-up models. Okay. Maybe they are. How is that relevant? Anyway, here's her contact information.
電話をしろと。
Are you that against it?
私の B 地区がこうなったのはユキのせいです。
Huh? Oh god. The music is perfect for the situation. It just highlights the ridiculousness of it. What is this? What's going on? I think the theory that breasts grow when you rub them is merely an urban legend. Well then, I guess I can just pretend that I lost it. I didn't feel like dealing with this anymore.
いえいえ、ユキに嘘は通じません。
Huh.
これは大変なことになったぞ。
I think this is the first time I've seen Usami panicked into a sweat. What was that? The fact that I feel a sense of normalcy seeing this guy, I think says a lot about how confused I am. What the heck? Even amongst those as odd as Usami, everyone shows reverence when in presence of Gonzo. The blabbering idiot from a moment ago was nowhere to be seen. With a stern look on her face, Haru sat opposite Gonzo.
脅迫状によれば、今日の夜9時に人が死ぬ。何か掴んだか？
それが。
Speak
わ
clearly.
かりました。では、これをご覧ください。
She took the threat letter from last time out of her bag as she spoke. What am I looking at?
この封筒なんですがね。
Usami flipped the empty envelope over and placed it on the desk. What about it? On top of it was what seemed to be a black pencil
ちょ
smudge.
っと気になる引っかき傷があったので。
文字の痕跡か。
ええ、よくテレビで刑事がやるようなことをやらせてもらいました。
Ah, I see.
もうやるな。痕跡の大半が消える。本来なら。
Something seemed to have come up in Gonzo's mind as his expression steepened.
何か出てきたか？
謎の文字が。
We all looked carefully. On the back of the envelope was the word North, and a certain distance away the letters HTS.
北と津ですね。
No, thank you very much. Goodbye. There we go. North and HTS, okay. What does that
おそら
mean?
く魔王はこの封筒の上に紙を置いて何かを書いたんです。
What could he have written? Usami shook her
ゴンゾ
head.
ーさんはどう思われます？
Gonzo narrowed his eyes slightly and answered.
殺しのあった現場だ。
Why do you say that?
北欧ハイツ。
Hmm.
北区にある死んだデザイナーの自宅マンションだ。
私と同じ意見です。少し自信が持てました。
続きがある。斎藤だな。これもデザイナーの名前だ。
So it's the murder target and his address. There seems to be more.
ええ、それなんですがね。
The character for ko, as in the word kodomo, child, right? Or ikuko?
はい。
I don't know how that's
おそらく。
written. Probably it's written with the word kanji for child. If you look carefully, it seems to be written right next to Saito. It looks like they're in the same column or
な
something.
るほど。よく気づかれましたね。ということは、これもやはり次の殺害予定者でしょう。
I immediately ran through the list of people associated with Kanon. A name containing that character for Ko. Noriko. Is it Miss Noriko? The female teacher that Eiichi was once smitten with. Why would it be a random teacher at the school and not her mother who was directly threatened? Come on.
それから、カノンと親交のあった元選手の吉田紀美子さん。
Okay. They're thinking about anyone else. Okay. According to our sources, she opened a cafe no more than 10 minutes away from the arena after she retired. Most of the customers were the skaters, so the shop was very lively.
あとは、陸子だな。
Thank you. Gonzo spoke blankly and without emotion despite it being the name of his ex-lover. One of these three is going to be murdered.
そうですね。魔王の脅迫状にはそうありました。
If you intend to lend your ears and heed my warning, force her to throw the upcoming NHK trophy, otherwise a new sacrifice will be taken at 9 o'clock the night of the last day. There's no doubt Kanon's going to win. If that happens tonight at 9, Mao might already be preparing for the whole operation. Any other leads?
ここなんですが、
Usami's finger pointed to the clearly visible prints of once written characters. The P's might be saying paper. Oh, wait, there's an LA population?
いえ、袋でしょう。紙袋です。
Paper bag. Okay, paper bag. What on earth does that mean?
あとは、その紙袋という文字のすぐそばにある数字で、5の
5?
前にも何か、数字ですかね。あるようですが、
So what does it
わ
mean?
かりませんが、今のところ思い当たるのは、
スケート会場内の客席番号だな。
私もそう思います。
Oh, sorry. Oh, scrolled too fast.
私もそう思います。今日は女子フリーです。スケート会場内は大変な賑わいです。育子さんの警護も難しくなるでしょう。
Right. Definitely. If his target is Ikuko-san, this number might be where he's seated in the arena. I'm a little bit skeptical. Why would he write all of that down and be so careless to do it on top of the envelope in which he sent the threat letter? Unless he did it on purpose.
5番なのか、25番なのか、56番なのかはわかりませんが。
There are also Latin letters ranging from A to K in front of the numbers. If the deadline is 9 o'clock, would there be enough time to take a look at all the seats in the chaotic arena? Before I noticed, the sunlight shining into the room had become brighter. It's probably about 2 in the afternoon. A voice came from outside.
お話し中失礼します。
堀部か。
The man entered the room with his head down.
これは坊ちゃん、お久しぶりでございます。
Horibe, the underboss, is the one calling me the young master and son. He's the second most powerful member of the Sonoyama group behind Konzo. An abusive, sadistic glow always shone in his flat eyes.
親父の指示通り、若いの30人ばかりかき集めておきました。
おう。
いつでも動けます。
Gonzo nodded as Horibe's report ended. Oribe bowed and left.
兵隊は揃った。
Well, this is Gonzo. He always has the matter neatly taken care of. He had already prepared a unit that could move freely.
だが、会場内に入れるのはよくて10人だろうな。
今から10人分のチケットを手に入れられるのがまずすごいです。
This is Gonzo after all. He probably plans to make the scalpers cough them up.
残りの人間は会場の出入り口を固めさせる。幾子が出入りする関係者通用口は特に。宇佐美と京介は中の人間と協力して会場内で該当する客席を調べ。
Understood. Usami nodded quietly.
魔王の背格好だが。
はい、身長は高めです。浅井さんくらいでしょうか。髪型は特に印象的なものでもありませんでしたね。顔をはっきりと見たわけではありませんが、やや前髪が長めだったような気がします。
Gotta appreciate this sentence. Rather tall, like Azai-san.
服装は、もちろん私が目撃した時の服装ですが、どこにでも売ってそうな黒いコートに、これまた町のサラリーマンが着てそうなスーツ姿でした。
あえてだろうな。
You mean he went out of his way to blend in with the crowd?
しかし、魔王ばかりを追っていると、思わぬ罠に陥るかもしれんぞ。
おっしゃる通りです。
I see. There might be an accomplice.
はい。魔王は封筒の上で、次の殺害予定者を紙か何かに書いたと思われます。それが自分への覚書なのか。
Why would he need a memo to himself? Or perhaps you're saying it could be an instruction to an accomplice. In the threat letter Mao sent, he writes that he released the murderer called Mephisto into the wild.
しかし、どうにも。
Usami furrowed her brows again. Usami, speaking of which, who were you tailing today?
あ、はい。その話ですね。
なんだ。
Usami cleared her throat and said,
実はですね、昨日怪しげな人と出会いまして。
When? Where?
西区の港ですね。倉庫が連なっているような場所です。時間は夜中ってところでしたが、男性が岸の縁でしゃがんでたんです。目の前は海です。真っ暗な海を覗き込んでいるものだから、自殺かなと思って声をかけましたら、妙に驚かれまして。
He might have taken you for a ghost.
年齢は30ちょっとでしょうかね。妙に武将髭が濃かったような。
So just what about him was suspicious?
男性の足元で血が点々と海に続いていたんです。
Blood, huh?
血についてはノーコメントでした。が、地面には何かを持ち去ったような跡がありました。後で調べてみたところ、血の点が途中で途切れていた箇所がありました。
And that something was?
わかりませんが、カードでしょうかね。四角いものだと思います。そういう跡ができていました。
But that doesn't necessarily mean the man took it, does it?
いえ、彼の懐中電灯を握る親指の先がかすかに赤に染まっていました。血染めのカードを拾ったと考えるのは自然です。
What precise observations?
彼はジョギングしていると言ったんですがね。それも多分嘘です。
Yeah, it was a handheld flashlight, right? Would anyone jog carrying something like
あ
that?
の晩は何か人に言えないようなやましい事件があったんだと思います。
Gonzo, who had been silently watching our interchange, finally said,
で、宇佐美はなぜそんな場所に行ったんだ。
Good question. Did she find a lead or
あ
something?
の近くに被害者リストにあるバレエダンサーが住んでいますよね。
Michael Jugmund, I think. Did you go there to meet him?
念のため訪問しましたが留守でした。手元の資料にあるように、その方は2ヶ月前に一時帰国しているはずですから。
Not to interrupt, but wouldn't that mean that the dancer is safe? uh,
だとはいいんですけどね。
Gonzo was still staring at Usami.
それで、その怪しげな男を今日の朝まで追っていたというわけです。
話を聞く限り、今回の脅迫事件と関係はなさそうだが。
ねえ、特にこれといった確信はないんですが。
I tilted my head.
私がユグムントさんの名前を出した時に、
やけに食いついてきたような気がするんです。
Interest? I may not know of him, but isn't he a pretty famous dancer?
いえいえ、藤原紀香も知らない人がユグムントさんを知っているとは思えません。
Huh?
名前を聞かれたので、憧れの芸能人の名前を出したんです。
You really have a way of getting things done.
そしたら、全くの無反応でしてね。一瞬だだ滑ったのかと思って知りたくなりましたが、どうも相手の様子が素でしてね。
Well, normally one would probably assume it to be a fake name.
まあ、藁にもすがるってやつです。
Did you find out the man's address?
いいえ、彼は朝までセントラル街のバーで飲んでいました。帰宅する様子も見せませんでした。
I get it. If he can stay that long at the bar, then he must be a regular
え
customer.
え、そのバーさえ張っていれば、尾行はいつでも再開できます。
話は分かった。その男について何かあれば人を割く。
Well, that'll be all then. We've already finished saying what we need to. I bowed to Gonzo and turned around, prepared to leave.
幾子は殺されても構わん。
Pardon? I looked back in surprise at Gonzo's emotionless words.
重要なのは星を必ず捕まえることだ。
We're not the police. We don't place the safety of citizens as our first priority.
あの女はカノンにとってももう不要な存在だ。むしろこれから先は邪魔になる。
This makes me very sad. What a truly heartless man. I couldn't even imagine him having close relations with Ikoko-san in the past. Suddenly, I thought of my mother. It is the very Azai Gonzo before me that pushed my mother into the abyss of poverty. He's a demon. And as for me, the boy forced to serve the demon, I will drown in an indispersible despair. One day, with my own hands, Gonzo.
浅井さん、どうされました？
No, nothing. We left Gonzo's house.
しかし、このお宅の警備もなかなか物々しいですね。
As Usami pointed out, there are always groups of people patrolling the house. One stationed in the front, 3 in the garden, and each of them carrying a different
や
weapon.
はりヤクザさんの偉い人ともなると、代わりの効かないお体なんでしょうね。
I guess. That aside, I'm impressed by how much you found.
はあ、これでゴンゾーさんに役立たず扱いされなければいいんですが。
You concentrated on the envelope rather than the letter. That already proves you're smart enough.
ですかね。あまり褒めないでもらえると嬉しいです。
She looked somehow displeased. It's almost time. Should we call a cab?
電車の方が早いでしょう。
We left swiftly for the subway station.
坊ちゃん、そっちの女性は坊ちゃんの色ですかい？
The heck? Okay, that's a strong line. Yeah, give me a moment. I'll make a quick run to the bathroom now. Before we jump into whatever this is. What the heck? Oh, Lord. Alrighty. Let's see what this is all about. Jeez. Horibe asked me with a smile. It was already 3 in the afternoon. We met Horibe inside the arena. Me, Usami, Horibe, and 5 of his men were there. They didn't really look all that bad. Their builds and facial features were fairly typical. They could pass for average citizens to a quick glance.
あ、サイさん、自分色とか言われてるんですけど。
Yeah. I see your mouth is foul as ever, Horibe.
おや、違うんですか。そいつは失礼。
Horibe narrowed his thin eyes even more, awaiting my orders. Alright, let's split up. We need to search all seats that contain the number 5. No matter if it's 35 or 52, search it. If you spot any suspicious people, call me right away, okay? Not gonna find anything.
魔王は背の高い青年なんでしたっけ？
Yes, but we might be dealing with a different agent this time.
ってことは、5のつく席に座ってる野郎全員に梨をつけなきゃならんですね。
The first thing to check would be that the name of the person and the name on the ticket match. The popularity of figure skating is very high, so tonight's tickets were sold out moments after they opened the box office. Mao's probably got his tickets through an internet auction or something like that.
でしたら、適当に怪しいやつをしょっぴいて、魔王だの脅迫状だの、犯人しか知らないようなことをかまかけてみますわ。
Horibe might be a sinister man, but one can hold on to the number 2 seat in Gonzo's organization without also bearing a cunning mind. This might take a while. Still, I hope that everyone can lay low. Try not to cause any trouble.
承知してますよ。カノンお嬢ちゃんの晴れ舞台を邪魔しちゃいけねえってこと。
あるいは
Usami spoke.
席が空いていたとしても調べてもらえますか？何か不審なものが置かれていないか。
You mean like a paper bag? Usami shook her head.
その5という数すらそもそも客席の番号とは何の関係もないかもしれませんが。
But it's still a lot better than just letting this play through, and realistically we can pretty much be sure that Ikuko-san is his target.
おっしゃる通りです。では動きましょう。
Horibe shouted and the men scattered.
浅井さん、
Hmm?
ちょっと顔色が悪そうですが。
Yeah, I was just up with Kanon until late last night. I can't even walk straight.
そうですか。無理しないでくださいね。
Usami left me with the words, "I'll call you when I find something," and vanished around the corner of the corridor. You certainly are the right person. Thank you very much for your cooperation. I bowed to the lady seated at F51. The arena is so huge it takes over 10 or 15 minutes just to get from one place to the next. Once the competition starts, we'll only be able to ask spectators between programs. It'll become even more time-consuming. We're pretending to be plainclothes security guards. If the real guards find out, there's going to be big trouble. And to top it all, even in cases where the spectator and the ticket match, we can't let our guards down. I've already questioned 6 people, and any of them might be Mao's accomplice. I mean, look at this place. This place is huge. How many seats with the number 5 in them are there? Like, this is a needle in a haystack situation. This is a very laborious task. This is like gigantic. It is. Okay. Gotta hide myself again. What a congregation. Mephisto obeyed Mao's orders and left seat C5. As he stood up, a yell suddenly came from the seat behind him. It was a fat middle-aged woman. I have to try my best not to draw any attention. Mephisto bent down, lowered his head, and walked toward the passage on the 2nd floor. The audience was stunningly huge. And for what? Some meaningless prancing? To Mephisto, the only true sport was the national game of Japan, sumo. Oh my god. He had already sat through Mao's spiel explaining the draw of figure skating. It's both sport and art. The history of figure skating could be traced back to ancient times. Yeah, but it's not Japanese ancient times, so they don't count, I guess. In his mind. Mao had even told him about the oldest known pair of ice skates in the world, a pair made from animal bones, which are now preserved in the British Museum. The entire discourse slipped from Mephisto's mind immediately thereafter, though. The only persistent information was about the athlete Azai Kanon. To put it simply, Azai Kanon was a source of income for a criminal organization. Mao had called her a lost cause. Mephisto felt the same way. Criminal groups' actions and ideals aren't ideals at all. These organizations are merely gangs trying to turn a profit. They snatch money from the weak in order to make a living out of a life of crime. When an enterprise brings misfortune to someone, lobbyists and interest groups, not unlike Mephisto, drive their advertisement-riddled vans around the city, eventually stopping at the doorstep of said enterprise and blasting out some cacophony in protest of their actions. As soon as the organization promises to support the interest group with capital, the harassment stops and continues somewhere else. In Mephisto's opinion, the existence of people who value only money yet armor themselves in false ideals has tainted the concept of interest groups. Mao made his beliefs about Azai Kanon very clear. Once Kanon has disappeared, we will be one step closer to achieving social justice. What's the takeaway? In order to achieve social justice, we must do away with the cute girl. Sure, fine, alright. Also, Kanon wasn't the sort of athlete that represented our nation. Oh gosh. That can't be justice, absolutely not. She even showed a contemptuous attitude toward the audience. Mephisto could understand Mao's feelings. A friend's indignation would be his flare of rage. Oh man, why? Why do you want to see me do that? It would be a clusterfuck, probably. So he followed the plan and strode down the aisle. Right. Well, he left his seat, so I guess they're not going to find him. They're not going to find him. It was 8:45 in the evening. Kanon's free skate was about to start. The corridors were nearly deserted as the spectators were all racked with anticipation in the arena. I rendezvoused with Usami. How's it coming?
いえ、まるでダメです。怪しい人って言いますけど、どっちかっていうと自分の方が怪しいですから。
Usami finally recognized herself as a strange person. There are too few clues. We've got nothing but the number 5, the words paper bag, and the ko in Ikuko-san.
多すぎるくらいだとも思いますがね。
She mumbled to herself.
さっき警備の人にさすがに捕まえられましたよ。やっぱり世界の選手が集まるだけあって、それなりに警戒されてるんですね。
It might be about time to stop then.
自分は尋問とか苦手でしてね。
That would be because it's hard enough as is to just have a conversation with
こん
you.
な時にユキでもいれば。
Okay. There are still 15 minutes before the deadline of 9 o'clock.
はい。
Then my phone suddenly rang. It was Horibe. An empty seat, a brown bag. Is the paper bag?
マジっすか?
It was a point that she herself made, but now she's standing there shocked. I mean, I guess it was more like a shot in the dark, and now that they actually found something, she's surprised. That's fine. Understood, I'll head over right now. C5, right? The audience was in a stir. Kanon's performance had just ended. The free skate is only 4 minutes long. To the performer and the audience, it might be a long period of time, but it passed in the blink of an eye when Usami and I were rushing to meet Horibe.
いやー、さすがカノンでした。素晴らしい。
What was the song, though? They never said which one it was, right? Oh, shut up, you weren't even watching. Just like the spectators around us, Usami clapped excitedly. Not that I would probably be able to recognize it just by the name, but I wish they had shown us a little bit. Judging by the audience's reaction, Kanon's victory is all but hers, as expected. I took a look at the screen that showed the points awarded. Sure enough, Kanon had the lead. There's still one contestant who hasn't performed yet, but based on her performance yesterday, she has no chance of beating Kanon. Which means Maou should be making his move. I walked to Horibe's side and took a look at the seat. C5 was empty. I'm so sorry. That was a bit longer than that. Well, why would he? As we spoke, the last competitor began her performance. In the dead silent arena, it was best to stop the chattering. The clock kept on ticking, but I was hesitant to just sit down and wait patiently. Dragostea Tay! Oh, Pancho. That would have been something. The moment the soothing classical music stopped, we started moving again. Comfortably drowned out by the loud applause, Usami dashed for the seat. She grabbed the bag under the seat and spoke immediately. It was a small paper bag with a department store label on it. What if it's a bomb?
本当なら警察の方にお渡ししたいものですが、堀部さんが許さないでしょうね。しかし、例えば今この場で私を含め無関係な人を爆弾で吹き飛ばしたとしても、それがカノンの躍進を妨害することにはならないと思います。
I suppose that's true. If somebody died, the tournament might cancel, but that wouldn't stop Kanon from moving on to the Olympics. Beyond that, the police, our Maou seems to detest more than anything, would start an investigation. I nodded and Usami tore apart the tape which sealed the paper bag. Another letter? The bag contained nothing but a single piece of paper, with the same texture as the threat letter. I stood beside Usami and read the words on the paper with her. Just like the letter Gonzo received, it was in horrible handwriting. Let me not cover that. To a dear comrade. You've already made sure of Azai Kanon's victory, correct? Here's your next task. The target is Kanesaki Ikuko. Leave the arena. Head to the staff entrance. Chaos should erupt when the fans start waiting for the skaters to come out. Indeed, it will be so chaotic that if someone were to die, no one would be able to tell who did it. But especially careful when you use the dagger. One would die as if sleeping with a mere slice of the fingertip. Why would they leave behind a letter like that? A red carpet was being rolled out onto the ice and the award ceremony was about to begin. On the highest step of the winner's platform was Kanon. Concentrate on guarding the staff entrance. I stared at Horibe. The accomplice who accepted Mao's orders was right there, getting ready to kill Ikuko-san. Horibe kicked into gear. He called his men and gave immediate instructions. Hey, Usami, we should go too. Usami moved as well. However, she didn't climb the stairs of the seating section. Instead, she started talking with the person sitting behind C5.
そうですか。カーキ色のコート。30くらいの男性ですね。
そうよ。よく覚えているわ。前の人、いきなり席を立つんだもの。
He did the thing that Maou told him not to do. He did something that made him stand out and be remembered.
何時頃でしたか？
瀬田真希子が演技してたから。
今から10分くらい前ですね。8時40分くらいですか？
席に着いたと思ったらすぐにいなくなっちゃって。ほんと迷惑だわ。
Usami's response was very quick. She already discovered what the accomplice looked like. Something felt wrong. Hey, Usami, what's going on? Judging from the look on Usami's face as she turned back, I noticed how grim the situation was. What exactly isn't right? She spoke with unchanging intonation.
最初からおかしかった。しかし唯一の手がかりを追っていくしかなかった。あらかじめ敗北の決まっているチェスのゲーム。
She mumbled as if talking to herself.
今すぐ止めてください。関係者通用口に向かっている皆さんをお願いです。早く。
Just like that? Why?
魔王は 封筒にいくつも痕跡を残すようなヘマはしません。あの文章にしてもおかしい。ワープロ打ちではなく手書きというだけでも怪しいのに、妙に自慢げで程度の低い文面でした。そしてこの紙袋です。おそらくミスをしたのは魔王ではなく共犯者でしょう。
There's a mistake on the bag. I picked it up right
ガ
away.
ムテープです。
Ah. I finally
ま
understood.
ず優れた犯罪者というものはテープのように粘着性のあるものを嫌います。髪の毛、指紋、その他衣服の繊維なんかも知らず知らずのうちに付着されてしまうからです。何よりおかしいのは、共犯者はこの魔王の指示を開封しないでどうやって確認したのでしょうか。
True, the bag was sealed up until the moment Usami opened
そも
it.
そももし共犯者が魔王の指示を確認したのなら、まずこの手紙を持ち去っているはずです。私たちは手がかりを失っているはずなのです。
Because it's an order to kill, leaving such a piece of evidence at the scene is too suspicious to be true.
しかし今確認したところ、8時40分頃に共犯者らしき男性がこの C の5の席に着いたようです。なぜでしょう。共犯者は何をしに現れたんでしょう。
He was there to leave the bag. Which means...
はい、この紙袋を置いたのは魔王ではなく共犯者なのです。我々の目を育子さんに向けさせるためにわざとこんな証拠を残したんです。
I nodded with approval and then looked at my watch. It was nearly 9:05.
急ぎましょう、浅井さん。これは罠です。
Okay, the music and everything, okay. The first target marked to feel the wrath of Mephisto was a woman named Yoshida Kimiko. Though Kanesaki Ikuko was also an unforgivable woman, Yoshida was even worse. Oh no, what did this person do? Yoshida was a follower of a famous religious organization. That organization exists as a parasite feeding off of Japan's political circle and contributes to the nation's corruption. Of course, though their atrocities never make it to the public eye, the existence of their crimes is a well-known fact. Long before accepting Mao's instructions, Mephisto had already planned out a way to punish Yoshida with the iron fist of justice. Yoshida manages a cafe near the skating arena. Oh no. Oh no. The audacity to manage a cafe. The time was drawing near. The methods were simple. Mephisto wrapped his fingers tightly around the vial. Maou had taught him the procedure to create the toxin. It was simply to throw the vial into the shop, allowing the liquid to diffuse into the air and form a deadly mist. Not only Yoshida, but the customers too. Birds of a feather would all die. Oh my god! Oh, this is so terrible. Perfect. In any case, Maou had already thought this through. He chose the moment right after the figure skating event. It had already been a pain just getting out of the arena. The area would be filled with mobs of people who didn't even know the meaning of the word patriotism. They don't know the meaning of the word patriotism because they went to watch a figure skating competition? Okay, sure. If one slipped into the crowd and boarded the subway in the immediate vicinity of the arena, there would be no worry of being caught no matter what came to pass. Mephisto had followed Mao's orders and placed the paper bag below the seat. In the brown bag was a phony instruction from Maou. It served only to throw the police off by indicating Kanesaki Ikuko as the target. Alright, I see. He had never made eye contact with a single person in the arena. Well, the old lady behind him gave him a nasty glare when he stood up from his seat, but she wouldn't remember his face. After all, he had appeared as nothing more than an ordinary citizen. Sure did. After a 10-minute walk, Mephisto arrived at the luxurious brick cafe. A cruel smile emerged on his face as he reached the front windows of the roadside shop. With the cramped yet tidy sitting area, a few boys and girls sat at the bar and chatted with the bartender. He saw her, Yoshida Kimiko. His target was a fan. Die. He raised the vial over his head. Hesitation isn't necessary when making a kill. This wouldn't be the first time anyway. Someone started to shout frantically. Surprising calls of "That's the guy" erupted behind him. "Hey you, stop right there," they said. Mephisto looked back at their pointing fingers. Judging by the appearances, they seemed to be yakuza. Their numbers multiplied. Curses came from all directions. Why? However, Mephisto was extremely calm. He put the vial back into his pocket and moved with the pedestrian traffic toward the subway station. His ticket had been bought beforehand. He moved slowly and orderly. He took the 9:05 train. It was stopped at the station right on time. Mephisto slowly boarded the subway car as planned. No, there had been a deviation from the plan. Yoshida was still alive. Why? How could this... Okay. I guess the point is that the lady behind him, sure, she couldn't like describe his face maybe, but she could describe him enough for Usami to correlate him with the guy that she had seen at the docks, and then she could describe him to them, right? That's the only connection I'm making in my mind right now. Okay. Okay. By 9:30, the search for the accomplice had been called off. Well, you foiled his plan though. You succeeded in that. Usami was already gasping.
おそらく地下鉄でしょう。電車の到着時刻もあらかじめ調べておいたとしか思えません。
Even so, you figured out that his real target was Yoshida-san? Usami shook her head in
共
regret.
犯者はあの席におよそ8時40分に現れました。会場から出るだけで10分はかかるとして、犯行予定時刻の9時まで残り10分ですね。となると最も危険なのは会場から10分程度の場所にいる人物です。この混雑ですからタクシーは当てにならないでしょう。バスも同じです。地下鉄は8時46分の1本を逃すと次は9時5分まで待たなくてはなりません。つまり共犯者は歩いて移動するはずです。アイスアリーナから歩いて10分程度の距離に住所を構えるのは吉田さんだけでした。
Though it was already past 9, Gonzo's troop's quick response was able to save her. They rushed to Yoshida Kimiko's cafe immediately and spotted a man in a khaki coat. Horibe spoke with a very depressed look.
すみませんね、坊ちゃん。不甲斐ないとこ見せちまって。
No, you've all given it your best. I'll report that to father.
逃げた男を目撃した方にお話を聞きたいのですが。
わかりやした。はい、この登場。
He gave me my due respect, but his attitude towards his subordinates was a completely different beast. Asami started talking to one of Horibe's dumb fucks. After a while, the conversation ended.
じゃあ、自分らは報告もありますし、撤収しますわ。
I returned a bow and watched them leave. I mean, if the situation has kinda like more or less concluded, can we chill with the music though? Because it's giving me anxiety.
残念ですが。
What is it?
聞けば一瞬のことだったそうです。カーキ色のコートを着た男を見つけたと思ったらいきなり喫茶店に向けて何か物を投げるような姿勢をとったんだそうです。顔はよく見えなかったが年齢は30くらいで痩せている印象だったということですが。
Usami sighed. If that's all we have, then this isn't going to be easy. Anyone could wear a khaki coat.
惜しかったのですがね。
So we're back to square one then?
いいえ、浅井さん。
Usami shook her head.
まだ手がかりはあるはずです。
Okay, just calm down. Thank you. Thank you.
ったく、なんだよこんな時間に。
いや、ほんとすいません。
僕、これから録画したスケートのテレビ中継見ようと思ったのに。
みんなで見た方が楽しいじゃないですか。
Huh, did he record it? Speaking of which, Ichi, weren't you there at the arena today? Do you always record the show even when you see it live?
もちろんだよ。解説聞きたいもん。会場内でも専用のラジオ貸し出してて、それで解説聞けるけど、テレビとは別の解説者だから。
The cameras might have caught the accomplice's face. That was the argument Usami had made for calling Eiichi to see if he had recorded the program. Interesting. C5 was in fact right next to the ice. From there, one can concentrate on the competition without worrying about a person's head in front of him. Thus, there is a relatively high chance that his face was caught on camera.
はい、これ録画した DVD ね。
I took the disc from Eiichi and put it in the DVD player. The three of us glued our faces to the screen and the DVD started after a moment. That's the wrong DVD! I would wager that's the wrong DVD. The body of a woman who looked like a porn star occupied the whole screen, shaking violently. Hey.
ごめん、本日の一発ギャグ。
A bit surprisingly, Usami lowered her head in embarrassment.
はい、本物はこっち。
This better not be another joke. Eiichi swapped out the DVD and pressed play again. Looks like the real thing. Alright. An aerial shot of the irritatingly crowded skating arena displayed on the screen.
じゃあ、僕の解説を交えて最初から行ってみよう。
あ、8時半くらいからのを最初に見たいです。
え？ 8時半ったら最終グループの選手たちだよ。いきなりメインディッシュいただこうっていうの
？8時40分くらいですかね。瀬田真紀子さんという方からお願いします。
なんなのさ、瀬田のファンなの？
いや、まあ。
確かにね、瀬田はいい演技してたと思うよ。でもね、なんつうの、無難すぎたんだよね。そりゃミスはなかったけどさ。
Ah, just play the thing, stop the commentary. While Eiichi was blabbering on. I took the opportunity to jump directly to Seta's free skate program with the remote control. Seta really was cute. Compared to Kanon, who looks almost like a foreigner, she was shorter and had a rounder face. She looked like some adorable character created for advertisements when she smiled.
ああ、そこダブルだったんだね。トリプル狙わないとカノンに勝てないでしょうが、セタちゃん。
I suddenly found Eiichi lying on his stomach on the floor. He looked like a middle-aged man watching baseball. Usami silently concentrated on the screen. How many cameras did they use? The multi-angle shots were making dizzy. I remember seeing the cameras hanging by steel wires turning busily over the audience at the arena.
Stop!
I pressed the pause button without a second thought. It was right before she stepped into her axel jump. Behind Seta, behind the rink-side advertisement, sat the man we were looking for.
ちょっと何止めてんの？
Shut up, old man.
何？
Usami spoke quietly.
カーキ色のコート。この人ですね。
I'll play it a little bit further. The man lowered his head and stretched his hands under the seat. He started to stand up, but then the camera angle switched again. By the time the camera angle switched back, the seat was already empty. Want to zoom in and have a look?
できるのであれば。
I don't know how to do it. Let me look it up on the internet.
僕わかるよ。
Wait, seriously? Have at it then.
でも教えてあげない。おっさんとかのやつには教えてあげない。
Yeah, exactly. Fine, if you help me get this done, I'll assist you with your patch-up plan with Miss Noriko.
自分も協力しますんで。
なんだよ、二人して。そこまで言うなら仕方ないな。
I didn't want to let them into my study, so I brought the laptop to the living room. Opening the tools as Eiichi instructed, we were finally able to modify the screen. The accomplice of Maou, the face of the man in the khaki coat, slowly became clear.
なんとまあ。
She muttered with a steep look. You recognize him? No, wait, surely you don't mean the man Usami met last night at the harbor.
そのまさかです。急ぎましょう。
ちょっと、どこ行くの？
To a bar on Central Boulevard for a drink.
僕お酒飲めないんですけど。
What a pity. I guess our figure skating appreciation gathering ends here.
なんかよくわかんないけど、のりこ先生のことは頼むよ。
それは任せてください。邪悪な計画を練り上げておきますので。
We dashed out of the room. A piercingly cold wind dominated the streets.
浅井さん、車を出していただけると。
Right.
どうしました？
I staggered, letting a nearby street lamp bear my weight for a moment. I think I caught the flu.
大丈夫ですか？最近よく体を壊されるような気が。
I'm fine. I took my cell phone
ど
out.
ちらに電話を？
Gonzo, I'm calling for more men. We can't let him escape again.
わかりました。運転は控えた方が良さそうですね。少し休んでください。自分はタクシーでも拾っていきますんで。
Yeah, he's definitely gonna go home and rest. Alright, sorry about this. I'll catch up later. Just give me the address. Oof. My skull felt like it was splitting in two.
では。
Yeah, go. Usami ignored the bitter cold and dashed away. Usami's putting forth quite the effort. Now I...
もうそのバーには近づかない方がいいでしょう。
Mao's voice told him this through the receiver. Mephisto bunched his shoulders in the cold wind and fled Central Boulevard.
それにしても浅井カノンと暴力団がつながっているというのは。
ええ、彼らは陰ながらスケート会場の警備をしていたというわけです。
連中を巻くのは簡単だった。しかしわからないのはなぜ私だと気づいたんだ。
After a short silence, Mao said.
可能性の一つとして知らず知らずのうちに人の目を引くような行動を犯してしまったとか、例えば演技中に席を立ってしまったり。
ちょっと待て、演技中に席を立つだって？
Mephisto nearly tripped in the middle of the
マ
road.
ナー違反なのか？
He has no idea. Mao suddenly clamped up. Through this reaction, Mephisto understood.
すまなかった。そういえば後ろの席の女に悪態をつかれたような気がする。
あなたも急いでいたのでしょう。気が回らなかった私の不注意です。
いや、お前はきちんと指示してくれていた。紙袋を置く瞬間を誰にも覚えられてはならないと。滑走前の選手の練習中、観客が休憩している時を狙えと。
Except it looked
そも
like
そもあの殺人の指示書は魔王が置いたものだと誤認させなくてはならなかったのだからな。
it looked nothing like that though. It was just weird. Mephisto grabbed his head and lamented his carelessness. The first step toward revolution had failed due to a trivial mistake. Mao must be similarly upset. I gotta love it. Like the old upset woman behind him was the little rock in the in the road that made their cart crash. Rip Revolution, yes.
申し訳なかった。
Mao's words shocked him,
あな
speechless.
たを危険な目に遭わせてしまった。
There was a tugging sensation at Mephisto's chest. That woman is the status quo. Oh, love it. She has no idea. That's like the most beautiful part. She's like completely oblivious. He was overcome by a warm feeling. Oh gosh, okay. They're bonding, guys. They're bonding. Ugh. In all these years, no one has ever apologized to him. Oh god, what is this? Mephisto spoke to the large-hearted man somewhere beyond the receiver. The large-hearted man? Oh, dude, okay.
魔王、次の指示をくれ。
I think he's falling in love or something. His voice was thick with loyalty. Oh, jeez, Louise. Okay. Oh, here I am. About an hour later, I arrived at the bar Usami had run to. Mephisto route, yeah. There weren't any customers in the dark establishment, only Sami and the Yakuza who had already arrived were there, surrounding and interrogating the bar
わか
owner.
りました。では見かけたら連絡してください。
The shop owner, currently freaked out by the Yakuza, must have figured Sami was one of them. He nodded earnestly. Yeah, Yakuza member Haru. Yeah, I can totally see that. How's it coming? I asked Usami for her report.
残念です。もう一本のところだったのですが。逃げられました。不意に電話がかかってきたと思ったら、店を出て行ったそうです。
Did you get a name? He might have given the bar owner his card before.
それが、不愛想なお客さんらしくて、自分は革命家だと名乗ったっきりで、いつも一人で飲んでるんだそうです。
A revolutionary? I said it aloud as my mind digested the information. Speaking of which, the threat letter from Maou had sort of an idealistic feel to it. Anyway, we already know what he looks like. It's only a matter of time. Nobody can live in this city and hide from the eyes of Azai Gonzo's organization. My mother and I were found right away when we were dodging.
今日のところはこれまでですかね。
Oh, sorry about that. Usami looked unready to accept his defeat.
共犯者を見つけたところで、魔王にたどり着けるのでしょうか。
I understand your skepticism, but he's our only lead at the moment.
それです。
Usami spoke directly.
どこかで打開しなくては。いつまでも魔王の敷いたレールに乗っていたら、我々は地獄行きです。
I felt the need to ask this of Usami. His grave expression worried me. Is Maou really that terrifying?
脅迫状の文面に騙されてはいけません。先日身代金を奪われたことを忘れましたか？
But that's... Let me put it this way. It was only because he had us normal citizens as opponents that his plan worked, right?
警察相手には通じないと？
Well, just look at it. We're in the same situation here. Maou continues to avoid police intervention. Usami closed her eyes and shook her head.
マジシャンは別に、マジシャンを相手に商売しているわけではありません。魔王は観客の程度というものを心得ています。つまり、
She has a point.
それが証拠に、魔王は物証には細心の注意を払っています。
The evidence trails we've had so far are the cell phone Maou gave you and the threat letter. Only two. True, we couldn't get any clues from that throwaway cell phone.
脅迫状もそうです。
You mean that style was intentional?
すべて、万一脅迫状が警察の専門家の手に渡った場合を想定してのことです。
You mean in the event it got put up to handwriting
それ
analysis?
だけではなく、言語心理学の専門家が文章から犯人の特徴を分析します。
Really? Even... You can tell the IQ based on the writing? So you're saying he's trying to play dumb?
何が芸でつながりですか？何が花紙に使わせてもらったですか？某世紀末アニメの第1話に出てくるモヒカンですら、こんなもん花紙にもなりゃしねえと言いますよね。
The Mohawk guy in the first episode of the post-apocalyptic end-of-the-century anime that said you couldn't even use this to blow your nose. I don't think I know what reference this is. Only hardcore fans would memorize such a line. What the hell am I supposed to know about that? Then why did he handwrite it, taking into account that the threat letter might be analyzed by the police? Wouldn't it be a smart choice to just use a computer from the onset?
だからこそ私はまず罠だと思いました。そしてこの文章には必ず仕掛けがあるのだと。手書きでしかありえない細工が施してあるのだろうと。
Okay. This theory wasn't so crackpot after all. And you were right, there were traces of words on the envelope. And the murder nearly succeeded.
魔王はいずれ警察と戦うつもりなのでしょう。そうとしか思えないほど慎重です。
Then now would be the perfect time to catch Maou. Usami nodded deeply.
何のつもりかわかりませんが、 魔王は私のような取るに足らない人間と遊んでくれています。その慢心につけ込む余地があればいいのですが。
No, he's not just playing with you. He's involved Gonzo in things this time.
はい。もう一度言いますが、魔王は観客の程度に合わせたマジックを用いてくるでしょう。
Meaning, Sami sighed before glaring at me with a defined sharpness in her eyes.
椿の時より大きな被害が出るということです。
Yikes. Canon, congratulations on yesterday. Emmett! Cute. You've made it into the finals after winning by a huge margin. You've got nothing to say about that?
正直フリーがいまいちでした。
Ah, is that it? Is it because you didn't choose a good piece?
はて、
She tilted her head.
みんなはそういうね。
Do you feel otherwise?
とにかくのんちゃんは完璧だったよ。のんちゃんは悪くないです。
Well, it's not like you can change the song at this point. You'll just have to buckle down and go for it. I'm sure she doesn't need me to tell her what she already knows.
じゃあ練習行ってきまーす。
Then I'll go to school myself. It seems that Kanon won't really be able to go to school until New Year's, since she'll be continually busy with various competitions.
おはようございます。
Yes. The way she says it, I'm sorry, it's just...
おはようございます。
It's so cute. Oh, I figured you'd be taking a break from school at the moment.
この前さりげなくサボってしまったんで、本当なら例の共犯者の行方を追いたいんですが。
You know, Gonzo's so mad he's spitting fire from his eyes. He's started pressuring the clubs and moneylenders under his umbrella into helping him find a guy. The ladies from the clubs are posing as hostesses and asking customers, while the rest pass his photo around everywhere. With all that, he's probably too afraid to even open the door.
朗報を待ちましょう。
After reaching her seat, Sami seemed to sink into deep thought. She rested her chin on the back of her hands.
おい、京介。
Oh, Eiichi, thanks for yesterday.
んなことより、ちゃんと約束は果たせよ。
Ah, promise, you say?
ああ、殺す。
Alright, we were gonna plan out the great submission of Miss Noriko. I don't think it's going to work though. I hear she's in love with someone. Oh no, oh no, oh no.
んなことは知ってんだよ。
Then it's hopeless.
おめえよ。だったら、相手の野郎を殺す策を練るのがおめえの仕事だろうが。
Look, I'd have to kill half the goddamn world before she decided to pick you. Half? I doubt it even then.
ねえ、ちょっと宇佐美さん、聞いてよ。
はい、聞いてますよ。教室に来る前に職員室に寄って、のりこ先生とお話ししてきました。今付き合って1ヶ月目だそうです。予定無理です。
Just give up, bro. Call it bad timing and leave it at that.
なんだよ、てめえら。
H's expression underwent a severe contortion.
利用するだけ利用してぽいかよ。そんな程度だったのかよ、ちくしょう。
Well, do they mean more to you than that?
落ち着いてください、H さん。この度の件、誠に申し訳なく思っております。
そうだよ、邪悪な策を用意しておくって言ったのに。
ですから代替案を用意しました。私の友人を紹介しましょう。
は？何それ？
Is she talking about Yuki?
H さんは年上の女性がお好きですね。
まあね。
Oh no.
のりこ先生もそうですが、ロングがお好きですね。
Oh, okay.
黒髪ロングがベストだね。
Oh, okay.
当然身長が高い方がいいわけですね。
頭も良くなきゃダメだよ。僕と釣り合うくらい。
なるほどなるほど。
Oh gosh.
あと世話好きじゃないとダメ。僕の話を聞いてくれる人じゃないと。
めちゃめちゃ聞き上手ですよ。
本当？
He's practically floating.
近々ご紹介します。それでどうかご勘弁を。
ものによるね。君を許すかどうかは。
Inspect the merchandise. Oh my god. Oh god.
わかりました。ではそのうちに。
よっしゃ、なんか期待できそうだぜ。
Yeah. Okay, you keep thinking that. Eiichi's mood must have improved dramatically as he lightly skipped away. Hey, Usami, about that friend of yours. Don't tell me you want to hook Eiichi up with that model-looking chick, Tokita.
はい。それが精一杯でした。
Well, she's certainly beautiful. Eiichi will probably be very happy.
だといいんですがね。
It sounds like there's some kind of obstacle. Did you contact her?
いえ、しなきゃなーとは思ってるんですがね。
Looks like Usami is really bad at dealing with her. Ah, Miki-chan, it's been a long time. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm keeping busy these days. It was lunch break and I was making a business call. There's certainly been a lot of trouble lately. Take this call for example. We're talking about a club which refuses to select the Azai Corporation as its preferred wine distributor. Another group has been openly stepping onto our territory. I won't be able to avoid talking to Gonzo about it for much longer.
みんなでスケート見てたんだけどね。ヒロアキもはしゃいでたな。
Tsubaki was as bright as ever.
いや、まったく。あの分じゃ世界は確実だな。
Look, Usami, you didn't watch a second of it.
これでも H さんから DVD 借りてみたんですよ。
Is that so?
あ、椿。大事なこと忘れてたんだが、あの携帯、まだお前が持ってるよな。携帯って、あ、うん。
I suppose she means the phone Maou gave her.
明日にでも返してくれ。
また何かあったの？
Suddenly, dark clouds hovered over Tsubaki's face.
何もないでもないでもない。
It isn't not that nothing has not unhappened. I can't wrap my head over this. Oh, sorry. I wrap my head around this, like, multiple negation. It isn't not that nothing has not happened. Okay, I'll leave it.
どっち？
Yeah. Listen, Tsubaki, if you try to take Usami seriously, you're only gonna wear yourself out. She looked at Usami, then me.
何かできることあったら言ってね。
Despite knowing that something had happened, she still chose not to say anything. Logic gates, yeah. It's too late for me. I don't feel like it. Speaking of Hiroaki-kun, he's starting elementary school next year, right? We passed the remaining time with shallow discussion. Afternoon came before we knew it. And immediately following school's conclusion, I had an appointment with Gonzo. Okay, this guy again. It's good to see you. I threw a word of greeting toward a man in a suit who seemed like a guard, and stepped into the courtyard of Gonzo's estate. I had company in the yard. A bodyguard with the build of a wild beast stood a few feet away. He was as still as a statue. After I made my salutations and sat down, Gonzo spoke. Shin-Ei? Are they trying to expand their territory? The Shin-Ei group favors a militaristic approach to the Yakuza power struggle. They're one of the top organizations within the SOA alliance. They refuse to engage in fraud, intimidation, or coercion, and consider even drugs to be an absolute taboo. Wait, this is a... Excuse me. So they're a Yakuza group that refuse to engage in fraud, intimidation, coercion, and consider drugs to be a taboo? Okay. I suppose one would say they're living in the past, since they're extremely insistent about order and loyalty and whatnot. There aren't too many of them overall, but what members they have are fiercely devoted. Naturally, they don't get along too well with Gonzo's Sonoyama group, who would do anything to turn a profit.
年末に連合の老人どもを交えた集まりがある。それに向けて生きり立っているのだろう。
Jesus, I guess he's referring to the men who led the top Soa groups. Asai Gonzo must truly fear nothing.
損害は出ているのだ。
Everything is still under control at the moment. Well, there was a drunken brawl at a bar on Central Boulevard yesterday, but we don't know yet whether or not it was caused by people from Shinei. My words were riddled with fear. Fear of the blank, expressionless gaze Gonzo wore.
よし。潰す。
Oof. A member of an offending group has caused trouble in an establishment controlled by our organization. An incident like this is generally resolved after the offender commits yubitsume, a procedure wherein the man hacks a joint off his own little finger in order to show penance. Aye. However, Shinei is yet to cough up a pinky. Forgive me for speaking out of turn, but I heard an interesting rumor from an informant. He received word that a certain group within the Soa Alliance is importing large quantities of weapons from Russia. Gonzo gave me a glare that intimidated me into silence.
奴らは100匹にも満たない。こちらは1000を超える。たとえ獲物が短期間銃を乱射しても俺は言う。まだまだ死ねえ。屍が盾になると。
I could only silently nod.
お前は魔王を探せ。人も今まで通り咲く。
Understood. Everything that needed to be said has been. After parting with Gonzo and calming down, my cell phone rang. The call was from my mother. Hey, yeah, how are you? What, your health? Well, that doesn't sound very good. Yes, I'll take some time to visit you. Please take care of yourself. It was a very long phone call. What a nightmare. I wish I could fly over to Mom's side right now. But Lord knows what Gonzo would have to say about that. He just demanded that I find Maou. Even if my mother's ill, there's not a damn thing I can do about it. You could visit her and comfort her. But okay. Damn it, Gonzo. I withstood the torment of my helplessness as I solemnly trod the road home. I got home early and ate dinner with Kanon.
どうしたの？ぼんやりして。
I was thinking about Mom. Apparently my expression betrayed my grim worries. It's possible that Kanon understood, but she didn't push the topic.
まあいいや。あのね、兄さん、聞いて。
That's the way Kanon has survived up until now. It's not because she's particularly sensitive or anything. She just doesn't want to get involved with any trouble.
のんちゃん、明日オフなのです。
You've got a break.
だから守って。
Protect you? Something must be bothering her. She's
いっ
pouting.
ぱい来るの、テレビの人、雑誌の人、企業の人。なんでのんちゃんの休みとか知ってるのかな？
Just get rid of them properly.
今の時期はさすがにお断りしてるんだよ。でも来るの。忙しいところすみません、みたいな。仕事のことじゃなくて、個人的にファンなんで、みたいな。
That's just a bit of recon before they go for the proverbial kill. So you're saying you want me to take you out?
兄さんと遊ぶの、1年ぶりくらいだよ。
That long, huh? Still. Well, I guess it's not such a big deal to skip school for a day. If you want to hang out with me, then I guess I just have to suck it up. But no making a big scene out of it.
千葉の遊園地はダメですか？
If you even get within 100 yards of that place, the tabloids will have enough material for a month.
じゃあどうするの？
Well, what do you want to do?
わかんない。
Oh, come on, don't pull this act on me. You've been practicing every day, so you've had to hold it all in, right?
たまる？何がたまるの？
You know, stress, for example. I just figured you'd want to go have some fun.
へえ。
Huh, she says. Fine then, we're just going to spend the day doing nothing. We can rent a movie.
映画ね。うん。何見る？
What do you like?
わかんない。
Alright, let's watch a love story then.
やだ。
Okay. Why not?
だって別に大波乱がなくても好きになるもの。思い出の約束とかなくても好きになるもの。のんちゃんはちょっと優しくしてもらえば十分好きになるよ。
Okay, where is this coming from? What? I have no idea what she's talking about. Okay. How about a tearjerker then? Like those mother-daughter dramas where the mom's real sweet but the daughter's just too spoiled to realize it.
ほうほう。じゃあそれ借りてきて。
Guess she didn't catch the implication.
じゃあ寝る。
She dove headfirst into my bed and stopped moving. Hey, would you at least change first? But there was no answer. I should get to bed early today myself. I've been catching strange colds recently. Illnesses and headaches continuously assail me. That they do, that they do. I sat alone in the dark, examining a photo. Usami, Haru. The moment I said the name, a dull ache reared its ugly head in my temple. Usami Haru, is it? I know that name all too well, unless it's a different Usami. That girl's father was the mastermind who destroyed my family. Wait, what? That girl's father was the mastermind who destroyed my family? Okay. Besides mom and dad, I also have 2 siblings. No. Had. One died of a heart disease soon after birth, and the other died in a terrorist attack overseas. Dad is still rotting in a dark cell awaiting the end of his sentence. Mom's all the way in Hokkaido, tormented by mental illness. And then there's me, who discarded the Samejima name, and all it represented for the brand Azai and the sins it implies. So I wondered just, what is happiness? Only demons exist in this world, and seeing as that's the case, the best I can do is to become the lord of these demons, the devil. No, I won't think about such things. Usami's made no mention of it, so she probably just wants to forget about the whole ordeal. Just as I have changed my name to Azai and discarded my past, Usami must have something of her own that drives her. When it's time to lay the cards on the table, will I tell her? It's been so long since I felt so sentimental. Is it because I've been thinking about such unusual things? That night in my dreams, I saw my mother. The guilt tore at my sleep like a beast within me. Sometimes I ask myself where the turning point in my life had been. Though I never get an answer, my memory is always open to a freezing village in Hokkaido. Behind a wall as thin as paper, in a shack without double-paned windows. The wind and snow battered the roof without remorse. Mom's fingertips, nothing but weak skin wrapped around tired bones, shook violently from the frigid cold. That evening, we were huddled together, just as we were every day, doing our best to endure the cold and the darkness. Mom, can we run away? She shook her head lightly in response, and the bruises she'd received from that monstrous man shined black in the dim lamp.
あんまり引っ越しが続くとお友達もできないでしょ?
I can make friends anywhere.
無理しないの?
You too, Mum. Don't push yourself too hard either. A hand gently caressed my emaciated cheekbone. Freezing winds suddenly barraged the room. I poked my head out of the quilt and saw that bear of a man standing in the doorframe. It was Kannu.
京介、大丈夫か?
Strangely enough, he was concerned about my health. A man who had beaten me to the brink of consciousness that very day had no right to ask such a question.
すまんかったな。酒飲んでたもんで、ついな。
Okay. Kannu sat on the floor spread out and began to guzzle the spirit he had brought with him. As I watched him drink after so casually intruding into the only sanctuary my mum and I held, a sense of fear welled up inside my heart. My back and waist, where he had beat me the hardest, started to burn once again.
怖いか、京介。明日になったら病院に連れてってやるべ。
Mum spoke up.
出てってください。
すまんかったって。
京介が怖がっています。
I wasn't the only one scared of him. Mum was too.
なあ、仲良くするべ。俺は京介の新しいお父さんになりたいんだわ。
Ugh. That sentence may never leave me for as long as I live. Thinking about it now, Kannu was a typical violent drunk. A violent, abusive drunk. When he was sober, he played at looking for forgiveness.
少しでも反省なさっているなら、京介に温かい飲み物でも買って与えてもらえませんか？
今は吹雪だ。どこの店も閉まってる。
Well, thank God they were open enough for you to get booze, right? It was no exaggeration, the snow and wind were stronger than ever. However, the vending machine right around the corner wasn't affected in the least. Kannu took a swig from the bottle.
温まるぞ、京介。
Oh, sure. He pushed the bottle to me. His breath and the smell of alcohol made me dizzy.
やめてください。
いいじゃないか。親子で酒を酌み交わそうってんだ。
Mom came to my side, but Kannu brushed away her hand. He stared at me with lifeless eyes.
飲め。遠慮すんな。
Using all my strength, I closed my frozen lips. My hairs stood on end. The mouth of the bottle in front of me was shining, soaked with Kannu's spit.
飲まんと母さんが困るぞ。
Yeah.
俺たちは家族だべ。大黒柱の父親に見捨てられたら、お前ら生きていかれんべ。
Mom screamed. She protected me, trying to chase away the scary giant. I get it already. I reached out and grabbed the bottle. However, it was nearly full and incredibly heavy, and my hand slipped in surprise. With a dull sound, the bottle fell on its side. As I watched the liquid flowing out onto the old, worn floor, a sound reached my ears.
お父さんの酒だべ。
As I was about to go into a defensive stance, I was yanked up by the collar.
なんま腹立つわ、京介。父さんがせっかく仲良くしようと思ったのに。
Pain, fear, and burning anger assaulted me. I couldn't hold them back anymore. What a joke! What kind of father are you? I immediately felt myself floating in the air. My face was burning, and I was seeing stars. Mother's heartfelt screams pounded on my eardrums. My head was being held down against the floor.
なめろ、酒をなめろ。父さんのクリスマスプレゼントだべ。
Christmas. At the time, I only knew that Christmas was supposed to be a day where families share warmth and love. Come to think of it, that was indeed Christmas Day. Just where is God? I wondered, as my face was smashed against the alcohol-soaked floor. Shrieking and roaring melted into one. The walls were shaking, but not from the battering of anything as forgiving as the wind. Kannu had grabbed Mum's face and smashed it against the window. What? He grabbed her hair and cursed as spit flew everywhere. Violence again and again. Eventually the sound of sobbing drowned the world. Was it me who was crying, or was it my mother? Either way, I couldn't stand to watch another second. I'm sorry.
Huh?
I'm sorry, I squeezed out one final plea with the last of my energy.
ごめんなさい。お父さんだろう。
My heart was frozen. That was the moment all emotion within me died. My eyes fell on the snow outside the window. The snow would go on to emotionlessly cover everything, and for once I understood its mercy. Regret, misery, everything was quick to be buried in this white, frozen world. I'm sorry, Dad. That was the moment I was reborn. My heart was already frozen to the core. I had no feelings whatsoever. One last time I begged, apathetic. God, please save me. It was only something I muttered without thinking, but God must have heard it. Someone was bashing on the door with great force. The visitor that came despite all that wind and snow kicked down the door and walked in.
邪魔するぞ。
He stepped in magnificently, a body immune to the elements standing like a monster from the peaks of the snowiest mountain. Behind him, a few other men stepped in without hesitation. There wasn't a single coat among them. Their pitch-black suits were covered with snow.
逃げられると思ったが。
Those cold eyes looked toward my mother. Even as young as I was, I understood that they were here to collect our debt.
なんだてめえらは。
Kanu's eyes opened wide.
てめえこそなんだ。頭に向かって何上等な口聞いてんだ。
Suddenly, one of the men in suits scowled.
こちらのお方はな。
おい。
After the large man who seemed to be the leader shot him a glance, the man beside him apologized and shut up.
あんたら、ヤクザもんか。
The savior at the door had a very similar build to Kanu. However, the air that radiated from him was so different that it was visible at first glance.
てめえは、この親子のなんだ。俺は、なんでもない。他人だ。
I suppose that was the limit to his fatherly love.
払え。こいつらが払えない分を、てめえが少しでも払え。ちょっと待てよ。俺は関係ねえって。
The next moment, Kanu's head snapped back. A fist had smashed into his face. He didn't even have time to squeal like a pig before his ears had been twisted tortuously.
俺が誰だか知りたいか。
He used his other hand to retrieve a card from his front pocket.
やめてくれ。
He pressed the corner of the card to Kanu's ear, laughing coldly. Kanu's eyes were rolling back in his head.
よーく聞け。
Rolling the card into a thin stick. He jammed it into Kanu's ear. Oh gosh. Strange alien sounds echoed around the room. So, who are you? Fear and exultation finally slipped out of my mouth. Kanu, who had been a mountainous obstacle to my mother and I, had just been silenced in an instant. It wasn't an angel who descended to my aid, but a demon.
さらえ。
The demon didn't even seem to see me. He just ordered his henchmen around. Hands gripped me from all sides, dragging me away. Wait, I'll do anything, anything. My pleas must have annoyed the men surrounding me as they struck me. Strangely though, despite being hit by a punch, I didn't feel any pain. Please, tell me. That incredible might. Please, let me join you. The scenery of a poor school, someplace I struggled day in, day out, without a single friend, suddenly floated before my eyes. As long as I follow this man, no one will score me ever again. I'll have the power to protect Mum. My fear was gradually ebbing as anticipation thoroughly flushed it away. Without a doubt, I was getting carried away. They threw me to the ground and stepped on me, but I didn't feel any pain. At the time, my face must have been filled with a pious light of sincere prayer to God. Finally, the demon spoke.
金を返せるか。
Money?
大金だ。
I'll pay it.
嘘つきだな。
Sorry?
借金がいくらなのかも知らんくせによく言う。
I'm sorry.
嘘をついても構わんが、嘘が発覚したときは許さんぞ。
Interesting. Okay. Alright.
俺の群れに加わりたいだと。
Yes, please.
なら、母親を置いて俺と来い。
Leave mom? There's no way I could do
その
that.
女はしばらく札幌にでも送る。どの道お前らは一緒には暮らせない。
That unanswerable statement stopped me dead in my
お
tracks.
前もどうせどこかの施設に預けられる。
The demon's words were absolute in my ears. I believed sincerely that whatever future he saw for me was indeed my destiny. Mom. Our eyes met. As I think back, my face must have been a spectacle of submission and exhaustion. Mom. That thin neck could only shake slightly, silently, to show her fear at losing me. Our unending tragedy already had her at her limits. And I was at mine as well. I could no longer turn back. Take me away, I beg you. Hearing this, a cold laugh came from the demon's thick lips.
母親を捨てたか。
I'm not abandoning
お
her.
前は物になりそうだ。
No, I swore in my heart, I'm definitely not abandoning her. Having made my decision, I closely followed Azai Gonzo's back. I'll come and get you, I swear. This was the promise I made that day as I walked away from my mother. I never followed through on that promise. Instead, I followed Gonzo through the long, hard years. When I finally had a strong enough financial base to live with Mum, I asked her about it, but I couldn't force a mentally ill woman to leave a place she feels safe in just to bring her home with me. The doctor told me that because Mum had been forced to move so many times, she was absolutely refusing to leave the place she lives at now. All I can do is give her a call once or twice a week and spend the odd long vacation with her in Hokkaido. She's my only relative. No, I also have a father, Azai Gonzo. Yet a question has always lingered in my heart. Why did Gonzo make me his foster son? There's a rumor that it allowed Gonzo, Sonoyama's underboss at the time, to impress the head honchos of Soa. Taking in a poor kid with no blood relation was a show of valor. Perhaps he just used me in order to move up the Yakuza ladder. Lord knows, Gonzo doesn't care about valor or honor. In any case, I lived away from my mother, and I could never bring myself to stand up to Azai Gonzo, the most powerful lord of Tomambetsu City's organized crime. If only Gonzo would allow it, I could live closer to Mum. If only. Okay. We can leave it there for tonight. That's more than enough. That's plenty. That was so long and painful to read. Jeez. There we go. Ugh. My eyes feel like they're burning or something. Ugh. I guess a bit too much screen time today. Yeah. Alright, that was an interesting note to leave this on. I guess yeah, we'll see what happens next time. I feel like my voice is kind of leaving me, so I'm so sorry if by the end of this I'm sounding weird. I feel like there's something odd in my throat. Although I've had water and tea and everything that I could think of, so yeah, sorry about that. What? The novel is very wordy, and the fact that I also have to read the lines for the main character, it's kind of... I cut his flu. Yeah, you're gonna see the Maou version of me next time or something. Yeah, no, I'm sure it's fine. Just need to rest my throat for a bit. Alright. Thank you for being here tonight. Wow, yeah, I appreciate your presence through all the weirdness and also the heartbreaking moments, and yeah, I couldn't have done this alone. Let's just say that. I'm happy to share this this journey with you. Curious to see where it goes. I see that Kanon is just blissfully unaware of everything that's happening, which I don't know where that's gonna go, but I sure hope it's gonna be alright for her because she deserves it, and all of this is just bullshit that shouldn't be happening in the first place. But yeah, I guess we'll see where this is going next time. Yeah, so we'll come back to this in 2 days on Thursday. I'll see you then. Until then, take care. Night night. Love you all. Bye bye.